Well, welcome back to another CP Media podcast, live and uninterrupted on a Tuesday night for a change. It's a bit of an impromptu live podcast. I am, of course, the media man with the mo, your host tonight, and alongside me is our very own Richard Greer. Welcome, Richard Greer, to a Tuesday night, not a Wednesday night, to talk all things Ironman Taupo.
Yes, Angus. Can you hear me? Am I loud and clear?
Mate, that's a big copy at this end, buddy.
Excellent. No, that's good. This is a last minute. Let's see if we can get this done. Sort of a show. We're broadcasting live from Kiwi, so I apologise for any internet troubles that we may have. But we've got a big show. We want to share some stories from Ironman Taupo, and we've got a moment before holidays happen and people disappear for a month or so. So wanted to make the most of this opportunity.
That's 100% right. When you dedicate your life and a fairly big block of time to training and all things that go into successfully competing at an Ironman, you deserve a week or 3 or 4 off. So we've grabbed the moment while Braden Currie can spend a little bit of time with us, taking that opportunity to get obviously words from the winner, and also we're going to cross live to the couch with Rick and Lucy from their lounge room tonight too, Rich.
Yeah, share their story. Absolutely. They've got a pretty cool story from their journey to Ironman and how their race panned out compared to what it was last year. And doing this thing together, it's been awesome.
Exactly. So to all you out there that are tuning in now, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying with us or joining us on such an impromptu Tuesday night. And for those of you that may be listening to this podcast afterwards, it's not on our normal scheduled time, but thank you for listening anyway. So, Rich, without further ado, shall we bring the 2021 Ironman Taupo winner online?
Yeah, sounds good. Braden, are you there?
Welcome to the show, Braden Currie.
Yes, thank you, team.
Brilliant.
It's good to be here. Sorry for the disruption and my lack of organisation and unawareness of the next month. So thanks for squeezing me in.
Absolutely our pleasure.
Yeah, it's great that you can okay, let's just do this, get it done now. It's good. And really appreciate your time and having a crack at doing the show tonight and just sharing your story from your perspective of what actually happened as the race unfolded for you. So Braden, let's just roll it back to the start of, I guess, Taupo Ironman was your, breakthrough Ironman win, wasn't it? What did that mean to you now? And then reflecting on that win coming into this race, how did that affect your preparation?
Yeah, I guess for me, Taupo Ironman has been a bit of a long time. I turned up on debut 4 years ago for my first Ironman and raced and won, and found it, I guess, relatively easy. Well, as easy as an Ironman can be, but I didn't have too many challenges, and I guess since then it's been 2 years of being sick and 2 races that I think probably weren't quite at my peak, and sort of the main part of summer had got the best of me, and I didn't really perform the way I would have liked to have. So, yeah, I think coming back this year, it does feel like the pink elephant in the room, Ironman New Zealand for me. It's the race that I kind of haven't been able to, do successfully for quite a few years, and it's really nice to pull off I guess just a really consistent race, a good performance, and managed to take away the win once again.
Was there more pressure on you because of that, and because you haven't quite performed to the standard that you wanted to, but also the summer that you've had? Kyle Smith has had an absolute blinder. He's won every start that he's raced in the half Ironman. Did that put extra pressure on you, think, as well, just other competitors that were there?
Yeah, it was pretty unknown how Kyle was going to race this year as in his debut Ironman, but the way he's racing half distance is pretty phenomenal. I would quite comfortably say that 70.3 world champs, he'll be at the front of the race all the way to halfway through the run. where there's going to be guys who are running 106 kind of thing, like Jan Frodeno did, that again might struggle with. But his performance in the swim and on the bike is definitely world class, and how that would roll over to Ironman was a real unknown. And we weren't quite sure there. I guess Mike Phillips is always in really good form this time of year, and I knew he put into this. But probably not letting much out either. He keeps and then obviously likes of Cam Brown. He was in incredible form this year and has been training the house down and doing sessions that I guess I could only ever dream of. So it's always an unknown whether he's going to be able to keep close enough to the race and pull out that run that we all know he can. It was definitely an interesting start line to line up on.
Yeah, for sure. So pressure? Nervous?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous. I guess a week out, we had Challenge Wanaka, and I'd had the second there, and I hadn't recovered probably that well. Had started training again, and then we got the postponement date sorted, so I took a bit more time off and had a really good recovery, and got in a couple of key sessions. And I guess I was pretty nervous on how that taper/build would affect my race. I wasn't quite sure how the performance was going to go off the back of that. But it's kind of like the old days, Rich. I took pretty much a 14-day taper and didn't do much for about 4 or 5 days, and then had a couple of fast sessions, and then didn't really do anything for the last 4 or 5 days. So it was good, and it seemed to work.
Good when it hit it. And that was my next question, which you've kind of answered already, is Challenge Wanaka and having that extra break compared to what you're used to having. That obviously paid dividends this time around.
Yeah, I think, it's probably what we've talked about since the race, is that just going into an Ironman with that little bit of fatigue in the legs, or muscle soreness, or even just, the heart potentially hasn't quite recovered back to wanting to be pushed that hard again, potentially has been one of the reasons why I haven't been able to pull off a run in the last 4 years that I've been proud of at Ironman New Zealand. So I guess it's quite nice to see that, with some good recovery and a really good lead in, quite a relaxed lead in, that the body turned up and I was in good form.
Mm-hmm. Great. So at the swim, Kyle was always going to go and hit that hard, and I think you're about a minute down in that swim. But looking at your splits, you obviously raced the transition better than just about anyone on the planet at the moment. You took, was it 45 seconds out of Kyle in the transition?
That's right. Yeah, I was really surprised by that, actually. The way, Kyle swam pretty controlled, I think, for himself. Mm-hmm. He is, he's a Dylan McNeese swimmer, and he probably could have put 2 minutes on us in the swim if he really tried. But with a minute down out of the water, I expected that we wouldn't see him sort of towards the end till the end of the ride. Leaving transition and grabbing our bikes at the same time was quite a surprise. And I think he had probably just taken a bit more of an Ironman mentality to the transition, and he had put socks on, and maybe he'd stopped to have a cup of tea or something. I'm not sure, but he definitely took his time through that transition, and it just allowed us to all come back together again.
Brilliant. Do you put socks on? What do you do in your transition? You're not mucking around.
No. I put socks on for the run, but not for the bike ride. So no, it's literally wetsuit off, helmet on, and go.
Okay, yeah, great. And how was your bike ride? How did you find that? Like, that's the key thing with Ironman NZ this time around, is you had the opportunity to actually have a running race because you were together coming off the bike. How was your bike? How were you feeling on riding with both Mike and Kyle at the same time?
Yeah, the bike. We've obviously been working on the bike a lot in the last year or two, and it's forever a progression. And the world of Ironman, the cycling is just so incredible now. So, you can't afford to be 3 or 4% off, because even the Uber cyclists can run a 240 now. So yeah, we've slowly been working on that, and obviously change of bike sponsors this year. So riding the new felt bike, and a funny process actually, working with a Christchurch guy, Dan Barry, managed to make up our own speed bars. So he carbon 3D printed a beautiful little bracket, and made some carbon molded bars to my forearms. And we've been working through that process, just trying to gain more and more dynamics. And I think by looking at my power numbers, I'm sure the course was pretty fast, just with the wind direction. But we definitely seem to be traveling at a lot better speed for the numbers that we were putting in. I felt really good on the bike. It came together, and I felt really comfortable, and knew as long as I kept with Mike and Kyle, then it was going to come down to a running race.
Were you ever under pressure on that bike ride? Was there any digs going in, or was each of you, because you were pulling away? Mike obviously did a bit more work to catch up with both of you. Was there any pressure that you were under throughout that bike ride, or was it actually, I'm just going the distance here?
So the first, 50, 60 kilometers, Kyle pulled away. Actually within the first 5 kilometers, Kyle pulled away, going up the hill. And I guess I looked back and saw that Mike had fallen off the back a wee way. And I sort of made the decision then. I was starting to hurt a little bit, and I was a bit like, well, if I'm hurting and Mike's falling off the back, then this is probably too fast. So at that point in time, we eased up a little bit. And then I rode, I guess I just rode my numbers at the end of the day. I just rode consistent for that 90K, and we ended up pulling Kyle in. Mike never really lost much time. He was always within sort of visibility of me. And then it was, unknown. I guess a lot of it was the way the race had unfolded, that it was going to come down to a running race. And likes of Cam Brown and Jack Moody and those guys were far enough behind that we didn't have to be worried about them. Like, we didn't have to feel like we had to put in more time. It would have been a pretty big challenge for one of us to try and break away on that bike at that point of time. So I think it became a bit of a conserve and get ready for a running race.
Yeah, good. What's Braden Currie's nutrition like these days? You've often said that you'll eat gels like lollies. What were you doing on that bike? Was there any solid food going in?
No. No. Same, exactly the same nutrition plan we had. How many years ago now, Rich?
Right.
A high five
good.
High five gel every 13 minutes, pretty much. 4.5 an hour, and a lot of water, and throw in some Coke and some Red Bull, and that's me for 8 hours.
Good, just keep slamming it. That's good, and not having to sort of breathe too much while you're taking that on board. Just get those calories in and the carbs going, and you're good.
Yeah, I do. I just find when I'm racing that hard, I don't feel any hunger. So the want to take on food isn't there anyway, and pretty much gels are all I need.
Yeah, nice. So a running race, what was the confidence like coming off the end of the bike ride?
Really good, actually. Yeah, the legs felt really good. I guess probably got to ease up a little bit more in the last 40 kilometers. As I said, it all came together, so it wasn't too hard. And we had a tailwind home this year as well, which is the first time I've ever raced that race where there's a tailwind on the way back up. So sort of 40K meant that I could definitely take on plenty of nutrition, and it was exciting, I guess, leading into a run where you know that you're in good shape, and you could pretty much do what you want.
So was the plan to really race that transition like you did on the way out onto the bike, like actually just put the hammer down as soon as your feet hit the ground? Was that, or how were you looking to? What was the plan, and how did you execute that, especially at the start of your run?
Well, you should know that what I plan and what I execute isn't always, or it doesn't always go to plan, Rich, as we may have learned years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, my coach and I had decided that with my run sort of form, which we felt was pretty good, that we wanted to shoot for kind of 240 and under marathon. And I guess she's a very typical marathon running perspective, and it's very much about pacing the marathon and starting off at a pace that you can finish a marathon. And well, I always agree to that theory, and I think that's a very wise decision.
Yes.
Once I got a little bit of race gangsters in me, that theory tends to go out the window. And I came through transition, and I'd already put kind of 10, 15 seconds on them, so they're behind me already. And then I was running, and my GPS hadn't clicked in yet, and then it clicked in, I think, and I saw like a 3:45, but it felt like I was running really fast. So I decided to run a little bit faster, and then my GPS really kicked in, and I was running like 3 minutes per K pace.
Yeah.
And then I was holding 3:05 for kind of first K, and then 3:10 for the kind of second K, and put in like a minute on Mike. And then I decided that I should probably reel it back a little bit. But the
just
run
a little
went really
bit.
well. I went through I think I went through the 5K at like 3:20 pace, and then through the first 21K at like in 3:15 something, in 1:15 something, an hour 15. So I was on track for pretty much a 2.5 hour marathon. But I guess the wheels fell off a little bit towards the end, but I had plenty of buffer to make sure it didn't matter.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I guess you're explaining, the fact that this very consistent, even marathon going on. That's not what I'd expect from Braden Currie running a race. You're always very much like, let's hit the ground running and let's just send it. And the whole out of sight, out of mind kind of philosophy. Surely that was sort of part of those tactics when you hit the ground running. You're feeling good. Let's put a bit of hurt on and make them chase the race rather than you make it. And if they're better than you, well, so be it.
Yeah, pretty much. I think when you feel that good and you can run that pace quite comfortably, you kind of think, oh, well, I might as well use it. There's other days like at Kona where, the plan was to run 3:40, 3:45 pace, and I literally was struggling to run 3:40 pace. So, I was really battling to get that in the first few Ks where, when you turn up and you come off the bike and you're running really comfortably, it's nice, I guess, to be able to use that while you've got it. And you guess you might just have to grit your teeth further down the path if someone catches you up. But hopefully you've made enough of a gap that no one wants to chase it.
That's right. All the guys were hurting. All the splits were sort of going back. Like you were drifting back to fours and things, and now the guys were doing exactly the same. So relative to you, so they weren't really making any inroads towards the end anyway, were they? As it happened.
No, they didn't. And it's a funny one that, like, because I guess I've tried to pace a marathon before, and I still end up slipping back no matter what. Like where's the line? I guess I still, if I started at 3:45s, I may still slip back to 4-minute K pace where, I started at 3:05 and I slipped back to still 4-minute K pace. So I made an extra 10 minutes in the first half by going that
That's
hard.
Right.
But
that's right.
So I guess in the likes of Kona, you may not have that ability to do it. The heat and the competition is just so much more intense that you can't really throw your cards out like that. But the other day I was feeling pretty good, so I gave it a go.
Yeah, good. No, that's awesome, and that's the honesty of a marathon, isn't it? That it just gets tougher and tougher as it's so consistent. You've just got to run it till there's no downhill to kind of cruise on. It's just let's carry on. Did you have a moment there that you could enjoy the run? You had a whole bunch of supporters cheering you on, and obviously the family were there as well. Was there a point that actually this is pretty cool right now, or were you just sending it the whole way? You were pretty broken looking coming across the finish line, which I was quite pleased with, to be honest. Like, he's put his work in out there today.
Yeah, I think probably the first lap, to be honest, the first lap of that run course where I felt really good. And I was running fast, and you got to see everyone out on course, and motivation was pretty high. And then I guess as it wears on, it starts getting a little bit tougher. But no, I guess same as always. Those last few K, well, you think you're going to be broken. They always feel probably the easiest, and that run back to town, and everyone's in there, everyone's excited, and coming through that finishing line was. Yeah, it was a really good moment this year. Probably one of the best, I think. When racing these days, I probably appreciate the wins more now than I used to. You kind of realise that they don't come by very often when you're racing at this level, and you don't really have. You can't go out there and guarantee those performances every time you get on the start line. So. It definitely felt a lot more meaningful than it has done for a few years.
And for those of us that weren't there, some of us sat at home all day long intently watching whatever social coverage that we could find. Following the Braden Currie Insta stories is always good. Sal does a great job there. I'm assuming Sal's in behind that while you're out there running. But I did see you crack a smile at one stage when one of your darling children informed you on the run that there would be a beer at the finish line for you. That was obviously is that the carrot that needs to be dangled nowadays? Is it a beer at the finish?
Yeah, I'm speaking on now, eh? Beers are what drives me. Time off. They're fun. The kids, it's actually really fun to see. The kids, I guess, being so involved in it now, like they're so aware of what's happening and the racing and stuff. Before it used to be very, very much a chore, getting dragged along to these races, where it's quite exciting to see them get really amped about it and really into it and enjoy following it. So it's definitely fun to run past them, and they're yelling and screaming at you.
So what's next for Braden? What we know is that we're here tonight. We're in a bit of a fast forward impromptu live to catch you, because you are going to pack the kids and sell and hook the caravan on. Well, the caravan's always hooked on anyway, just about with you, isn't it? But you're heading off to disappear for 3 or 4 weeks, well-earned rest. But what's next for Braden Currie, the Ironman athlete? There's obviously some racing going on around the world. We're all watching the coverage that's been going on. So there's plenty of racing going on around the world. But where does that leave you now, still in these COVID times?
Good question. Don't know. It's a tough one. I guess I could line up in 10 weeks' time at Ironman Cairns, and the way things are going, with the bubble and stuff, at least, we shouldn't have to isolate on the way to Australia. So that's an option, but the season gets a little bit busier. So we've got the Collins Cup, which is the PTO professional triathlon organisation race. So Slovakia in August. And then Kona, which again is such an unknown, and to be honest, that's probably the hardest part to plan for this year. Is what do we do? Do we try and chase Cairns and chase the Collins Cup, and then if Kona's on, then I guess we go, or do we, I guess, sacrifice Cairns and just do Collins Cup and Kona? Because if I do Cairns as well, then I've probably done 4 Ironmans in the year plus 3 half Ironmans, and I guess that's probably too much racing to expect a good performance. So pretty much weighing it up at the moment. I don't know where it'll go. I think Slovakia is definite. It'll happen, so that'll be cool. and that'll be quite a spectacle and great racing and a new style of racing. I think it'll be pretty challenging to get Kona going this year with 7,000 odd athletes turning up on a very small island, all eating at the same cafes, all at the same hotels and stuff.
Has there been any talk that they'd run that as an elite thing only? You know, some of these events around the world have only run elite and not actually worried about things. Has there been any chat in the background about Kona doing it that way?
There hasn't, and I don't think they will. Yeah, I think Ironman's a pretty big brand, and they're very focused and I guess tunnel vision on what you'd say is mass participation, making sure they get numbers at their events. And the pros are kind of token in a lot of ways at their events. So I can't imagine Ironman will change its philosophy this year to see that happen. It'd be great if it did. We would be stoked if they ran a invite 60 only kind of professional race and made some good media coverage, and that would mean that the island wouldn't have 7,000 people on it, and they could potentially pull it off, but I don't see it happening at this point in time.
Brilliant. Okay, so but nonetheless, there's obviously some overseas international travel going to go on to continue the race journey, which is exciting in its own right, to be fair, no matter where you go.
Yeah. Correct.
Brilliant. So Braden, you're on it. Just gonna jump in. Yeah.
You go.
Go, Richard. We're waiting.
Kiwi's getting a bit slow, mate.
The floor's all hers.
More to get out there and back.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yep, fantastic. Hey, so Braden, you're off on a bit of a break now. How long do you have doing nothing, eating pies and putting your feet up? Oh, no good.
I got it. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I get probably.
Am I going?
Really. Yeah. 4 weeks, a month. Same old Kiwi stuff. We'll be out there doing mountain biking trips. Supposed to be in the Paparoa in a couple of days with Tan and try and shoot through the Heafy and might run the Abel Tasman kind of thing. But it'll be a month till we're back into focus training.
Perfect. I'll just interrupt you because I'm not sure if Rich sounds like he's still at the transition, trying to put his socks on to get his shoes on there, Braden, and we've steered right around the outside of him. So, look, mate, thank you very much. Congratulations on an absolute epic win. It's so great to see such good competition within New Zealand here because nothing that anybody's done recently has come easy. There's been a battle in every race that's been going on lately. So that's great to see the depth and the up and coming. Also great, though, to see Braden, you back on the long game and across that finish line first. Very proud. So thank you very much for joining us. All the best for your little time away. And we'll look forward to seeing you when we next see you, I guess.
Yeah, awesome. Cheers, guys. Thanks for having us and making it happen.
Awesome. Thanks, Braden. Are you there, Captain? 3.
Yes, I am. I'm just a bit nervous to talk, actually.
You definitely got the delay going on there, buddy. That's for sure. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. That is our typical trusty Kiwi internet. We might have to do a bit of improvising here, but mate, you need to be proud within yourself there, Richard. Yourself and Team CP. You've been involved with Braden Currie right from his outset, right from his multi-sport get-go, and now we've just been talking to not only the 2021 Ironman New Zealand winner, but also Braden is ranked 8th in the world. He's the 8th top male athlete in the world of Ironman, and that started with you.
Yeah, it's cool. It's it's just great to support him and cheer him on. He's I just will be the old man sitting in the deck chair, sort of on my porch, cheering him on. That's sort of where I see myself at the moment. But great to be involved and great to say that you've had a little part to play in his growth and development as an athlete.
Yeah, totally. So our next guests are just another absolute mirror of Braden's success, or from your success, Richard. Two more fabulous athletes that you've been involved with, that you have helped get to another Ironman start. And actually this year, wow, have they made some ground from last year.
Yeah, totally. So Rick and Lucy, are they in the background? So Rick and the old internet's done well up until now, so I'm just going to keep talking for a moment as you introduce them and throw them up on screen. But Rick and Lucy, Ironman, you did the race again this year, had a point to prove from last year, and it's been really fun working with you as you trained. Obviously, it was put on hold and then had to refocus like everybody else did, and then go, right, what are we doing here? And let's go and see what we can do, challenge ourselves and have an awesome day. So Rick and Lucy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. It sounds like a few more years with you, and I could probably be challenging for a podium by the sounds of it.
If all great athletes start with you, Richard, here you go.
I'm just going to wait for him.
Good stuff, team. Yeah, that's tricky. It's a good 10-second delay, I think, going on here at the moment on my count.
Rich,
so
is it worth
I'm
having
just
a
going to
refresh?
ask a big open-ended question here. Yeah, potentially. I'm just going to keep rolling here, and then we can, you guys can sort of talk about your day. So, well, Rick, what did you do, and what was your plan this year? What were you trying to improve on from last year's performance?
Yeah, so I guess last year was giving Ironman a shot, just kind of getting into triathlon for probably a year and a half at that point, and figured why not give Ironman a bash, and completed it in about 12 hours 15, completely happy with that. But then I guess the next day just had a wee bit of a thought in the back of my head of, could probably improve upon that. And I guess really just with a lot of stuff I've done recently over the last couple of years, it's always been into something, complete it, move on to the next thing. So yeah, kind of this year I was like, oh, well, maybe I'd actually like to just actually focus on something and just see how good I could actually complete it in. Yeah, so I mean, it was an opportunity really just to get in touch with a coach and have my first experience being coached by yourself, Richard. And then, yeah, was able to turn up this year and cross the line in 10 hours 7. So I managed to knock about 2 hours 15, I think, off, something like that, 2 hours 10, 2 hours 15. So, yeah, it was a pretty good improvement, I think, overall.
Yeah, that's an awesome day out, isn't it? Hopefully my internet's speeding up a little bit here as I talk, but and that's good, Lucy. Hopefully you're nodding in agreement with that. But Lucy, tell us about your what you've done in the past and what you were looking to try and do coming into Ironman 2021.
So I've done Ironman before, back in 2019. I'm not very good at answering these questions. So what was I trying to do? I don't know. I guess going into this year, I was really just trying to have a better run than my previous one. I really struggled in my first year just running off it, vomiting, but not being able to take anything in. So I ended up walking quite a lot of it. So for me, success for this year was enjoying the run and not getting into that state that I was in. So I was pretty happy with how this year went.
Yeah, great. So tell us about, and one of the key things we've worked on across the course of the year is what's the focus? What am I focusing on? What's the mindset around running your marathon as well? And some of the technique stuff. What across the course of your swim, bike and run, what were some of those things that you were focusing on during the day to make sure that you could actually enjoy it rather than beating yourself up about it if it wasn't going exactly the plan?
Well, from after watching you do coast to coast, and you made a statement in your post-race interview that if you just focused on doing all of the little things well, you could have a good day. And so I guess that I really took that away and just thought about the whole process. Like if I could not get distracted, because I'm very, very easily distracted, like I could just swim for hours and ride my bike for hours and not really be concentrating on what I'm doing or how I'm pedaling or my swimming technique, because I'm just enjoying it. I'm just enjoying being out there like a big kid. So it was just for me actually not being distracted and focusing on the process of swimming well when you could. Was the first year I've trained with power, so using the power meter to try and keep me interested and not distracted. And the same with the run, really just focusing on process, so not focusing on pace or what the time was, because for me that doesn't really process in my brain. It's more, we were just focusing on cadence and posture, which was really, real beneficial for me.
Yeah, brilliant. And as a result of cadence and posture on the run, how did that go, like, to be able to actually enjoy your run because of that?
Yeah, really well. I was really happy. I actually felt great the whole time. The first lap I had a little bit of a stitch, but the whole time I had heaps of energy, so my nutrition went really well. And I was just able to keep going the whole way, and I knocked 15 minutes off my last marathon, so I was really happy with that at the end. But during it, I was super stoked with it. Yeah, just having that to focus on was really useful for me.
Yeah, fantastic. And Rick, tell us about your running and your running journey, because that's something that's like your background is cycling, really, isn't it? If you had a choice, I'd go bike riding every day of the week. But your running has really come on over this, I don't know, past 6 months or so, really, hasn't it? What's been one or two of the things that have really changed your running for you?
I think definitely just kind of going into this whole process and just having a lot more structure around those key kind of running sessions, and just having far more structure around my week and kind of not getting into junk mileage, but actually focusing on whether it be strength work or intensity work or just your long run, that kind of stuff just has really helped kind of solidify just my overall enjoyment of running, but also I guess just how fast I've then just been able to progress as well. And I think as well, just I guess part of this year was actually just racing, so not trying to conserve myself at times. Like, so I guess that's what I mean about when I've entered challenges. It's always been, well, if I hold myself back, I know I can complete this challenge and then that's done. Whereas a lot more attention's been put on to, okay, well, how about you just go out there and you just push as hard as you can, and if you blow up, you blow up. But which happened on the marathon. But I kind of expected that to happen at some point. But I was still running faster than I guess I had previous. So I guess it was definitely more around just actually building that kind of solid running base, and then just being able to back myself and knowing that I've got that ability when it comes to race day.
That's right. You blew up, but you didn't blow to bits, though, did you? You were still able to keep moving. I think he's over-exaggerating that, isn't he, Lucy?
So
he didn't look like he blew up on the run. Let's just say that. He was still jogging comfortably.
Still,
when I saw him.
It was still a 3:45 marathon. It's not exactly blowing up, but it got to the point where I felt like I needed to go into a wee bit of damage control. So that was just kind of walking aid stations to make sure that I just got some fuel in and some water, and then just finding some random person who looks like they're running a pace that I can handle, and just having a chat with them and asking them to kind of pace me through to the finish line. So it was hard, but it was always going to be.
Yeah, good. So a question for both of you: what was your toughest moment throughout the race, when it was actually, I just didn't want to be there anymore, I want to go home, thanks? And what was one or two of your key highlights?
Always 30k into the run, that's just just a horrible place to be. And it's because you kind of, maybe it was a wee bit before then, because it was a 4-lap course, you kind of had 2 lap bands, and so when you started your third lap, you still kind of felt like you had 2 more laps to go. So,
and that's when he was finishing. When I was at that point.
Yeah. So, and that was when my quads were just really starting to give me grief. It was starting to get a bit hotter as well. So that was probably where I went into my little dark hole. But the best was probably the return leg on the bike. So probably about 120 130 k's in, so heading back in towards Taupo. As Braden said, there was a tailwind, and so you'd spent the kind of last hour and a half before just battling into it, and then all of a sudden you just had that return leg into Taupo, and it's just flying, and kind of just trying to hold myself back because you could just really build up some speed on that, and I was just loving it.
Yeah, good. What about you, Lucy?
My darkest was probably second lap of the bike, into that little bit of a headwind with massive stitch and no water in my front bottle was probably my darkest point. Thinking, what are we up to? Like, still got to cycle all the way back. And then the highlight for me is always the swim. I mean, swimming into the mouth of the Waikato is pretty special. And my run was a highlight. Like I said, I really enjoyed it this year. Got a bit cold on this last lap because it was in the dark due to the 8 o'clock start, but that's fine. And just the support, it's pretty incredible. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, fantastic. You guys are great supporters of each other as well, aren't you? So cheering each other on as you sort of pass on the run and the bike ride. Lucy, you swimming as fast as you can to see how fast you can, how much time you can put into Rick on the bike, and him hunting you down. Must be pretty cool to be able to do this thing together, train together, but also do that same race together as well.
Pretty special. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was saying it kind of earlier today. Just it was pretty cool just being able to, you know, walk down the chute into the lake with Lucy, you know, holding hands, you know, so you don't get lost. Lucy was doing it, you know, for comfort. I was doing it because I didn't want to lose the toe.
So performance enhancing.
You know, and then just I guess just lining up together and just being at the front of the race, and just both having that kind of moment of excitement of the day ahead, or excitement and a bit of dread. And then also for me, when I was finishing my run just by the final aid station, so kind of within the last couple of 100 meters of the run, I caught up to Lucy again. So it was nice, even though we were both running our same race, that essentially I was able to start the race with Lucy and then was able to see her again as well just before I finished. So
that was real cool. He was coming down the finisher chute as I was just at my at the turnaround for the third lap, so I got to hear them announce him across the finish line, and so I was like, like cheering as I'm running down. And like, what are you doing? Like, what are you shouting for? And I'm like running down the going, like screaming. And just awesome seeing him out there on the bike, because he just like made up so much time all the time. I had a mechanical, so I had to stop for 10 minutes. So
that's where most of the time is.
Thank you. So he made up heaps of time, and then you could just see him at those crossroads. I was like, damn it, he's so quick. It's so good. He's having such a good day. And then I saw him on the run a couple of times. Yeah, it just like real boost you on, and that was pretty cool. See, like, hear it being right there when he finished. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
And Rick, you did have a great day. You had an absolutely outstanding day. Well, you both had a great day, but you finished the last time you finished it, and the next day you went, actually, you know what? I could do this better. So are we done yet, or are we or right here, right now, are you going to tell us one thing that Richard needs to schedule into his training block for you that you need to work on? So I'm guessing by the laughter, the answer is already yes. We're going to be back.
No.
We're going to do it again.
I guess I was saying this before though. Like the thing with last year is it was kind of like I knew I could improve. There was a lot of things I'd done wrong, a lot of things I hadn't trained for, and so it was easy to see that even if I just tried a little bit harder, I'd still be able to do better. Whereas, you know, like now I'm starting to get faster and faster. It's obviously the gains are going to get marginal, and I think one day I'll go back. But I mean, I think the problem is, I just realised I've got an ultra marathon in 15 weeks, so I think I just need to figure out if I still like running at the end of that.
Yeah, nice.
It's a little chat about that. Are you going to do it again? On Sunday, there's like, nah, I'm not planning on doing that again. Yesterday, when someone asked him, oh, I'm not really thinking about it yet. And now you've just asked him, he's like, oh, well, we'll just see what I feel like after 15 weeks. So,
yeah.
We're nearly there.
We'll wait till Wednesday.
Annual training plan now on the training peaks. I mean, what are we?
We've nearly got the entry filled out.
Here we come.
No, I didn't realise that Richard had started off Braden's career into professionalhood. So I mean, I'm just looking at the long game here.
We've already got accommodation booked, so it's fine. We've already got it. So.
You might as well retire now, Rick. You're already done. Retire your job. Like be professional Ironman. Just retire your job. Might as well hand your notice.
Well, we're heading down to Nelson tomorrow, so I'll just link in with Braden and we'll just just start a new training block. Yeah.
Yeah, because the important piece missing there is actually that Rick started Braden's career, but he's obviously moved on and had new coaches and things along the way to meet those things. So don't hang your whole hat on Richard.
Yeah, you've got a new coaching service you're starting there. Are you? Is that what you're trying to say?
I think that's out of you. I think you're not allowed to talk about that. And while you're sitting under the team branding, you'll be in the trouble.
Media man with the bow and also does training programs on the side.
Yeah. Obviously, clearly my paycheck didn't clear this week.
What's that budget again? Oh, no, zero. Okay, well,
moving on. Look, Rick, Lucy, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on an epic weekend. I'm just so stoked to hear that everything just went so fantastically well, and that everybody had a great day. Is there anything probably finally you guys want to say? Is there anything out there you want to suggest to people? Because obviously one of our big things we love to do is spread the enthusiasm, spread some awesomeness, and try and encourage some new people to take up the challenge.
I'd say like Ironman New Zealand is probably like one of the best events I've ever done. Like, I mean, you're treated like a pro. The volunteers there are just amazing. They'll do anything and everything for you, and it's just you've never felt so supported kind of going through a race, and as daunting as Ironman sounds, like when you're actually out there are people from all walks of life doing it. Like it's hard, but you can do it. Like you can, and so I think it's definitely something to consider giving a crack one day. I mean, I know we tried to convince Richard to do it on the Thursday afternoon.
We offered to fly up on the Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else has really heard this story, but yeah, I was like, maybe I could, but I still had sore legs from the first run I'd done in 6 weeks since Coast. That was a Tuesday, and now we're talking Thursday. But I was like, I could, but then realised that Tash, my wife, had just bought a dress for a wedding that was supposed to go to that weekend, so decided it was probably not the best option to go and fly up to Taupo to accidentally do that. So sense got the better of me, and potentially next year, who knows?
Yeah, I just say if anyone out there is actually thinking about doing Ironman, and we both coached ourselves to the first one. So our first ones, we both just did our own thing. But definitely having a coach probably actually got me to the start line this year. If I'm honest, I wouldn't have gone without Richard with the postponement date. So yeah, it was pretty special. Thanks for that.
Well done, Lucy. No, it's cool. It was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty tough there, wasn't it? Just with that postponement date, and then to have to go, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Do I want to go through this? Do I want to train for more? And pretty much everybody had that same thing that they were going on with. But you did super well to go, actually, let's just focus on me and what I can do, and really enjoyed the day up.
Yeah. So it was huge having you there. So thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Rick. Thanks, Lucy. Absolutely amazing. We look forward to seeing you around the trap somewhere else at another event. Rick, good luck with your ultra marathon. Maybe we will need to tune in again with you after the completion of that and see if you still love running. But in the meantime, stay safe and thank you very much.
Thanks for having
Well done,
us.
team. Thanks.
Bye.
Well, there
Good
you have
job.
it, Rick. We've successfully pulled off a very last-minute podcast and a fabulous podcast it's been as well. So great to have Braden on. The guy is just always obtainable, always willing to give his time up to give it to share with all of our community, which is just fabulous.
Yep. No, I really, really appreciate that. Last minute going, are we good for Wednesday? Are we not? Should we postpone it? And well, should we do it in 15 minutes time? That was at 8:15 this evening. And right, okay, let's do this. Rick and Lucy, what are you up to? Okay, let's do that as well. Angus, how's your mo? Have you done it? Can we do it?
I had to rush through hair and makeup and mo treatment really quickly tonight. But anyhow, nonetheless, it's been absolutely fabulous to bring this to you all, and thank you all for tuning in and watching. Rick Greer, what's next for you, mate?
Waka 100, the 100 miler actually is the goal for me. So I threw that out there and just encouraged a bunch of people to say it's a really good idea. And we've got lots of people that are turning up. Mighty Matt Sherwood is putting his name on the start line. There's a whole bunch of people who's our mountain bike coach. But Angus, what's your next thing?
Well, actually, I've actually got a row of things lined up, Richard, so I could burst that bubble quite easily there. But I'm guessing what you're angling for is the media man, the Mo, going with his sidekick, the captain, to take on the 100 miler. Well, you heard it here first. Yes, he is. He will be dusting the mountain bike off and chewing off a bloody big day, I'd say, Captain.
There was a brilliant little.
I really don't.
There was a brilliant piece of footage put up by Tim Farmer, the organizer, as you mentioned, that maybe the Waka 100's got a bit softer. It's not that hard anymore. And that was that little audio clip that he put up there. So, yeah, I think we'll go and put our money where our mouth is and see what you're up to. And me, your little sidekick, we'll go and see if we can get across that finish line and finish 160 Ks of riding around the Redwood Forest in Rotorua.
Yeah, totally. Yep. Tim's totally called us out. He's called me out on that comment, that's for sure. And he's laid it down. So we are privileged to take up that opportunity and go and enjoy a very long day out in the coming October month. So that's good. Got some focus, got something to do, fill some time in there, Rich, in between things. So I'm regretting it already.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah. Good. Right, mate. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. A huge thank you to Team CP, as always, for not only coaching these athletes to the start line and to the finish line, but, of course, sponsoring our podcast and allowing us to be here tonight with you all. Stay tuned. We will be back on your screen in no time. Sure, I'm sure, Rich, we must have another one lined up sometime soon.
We certainly have. We'll be back next Wednesday and looking forward to talking to you then. Well done, team.
Over and out.